जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनच्छलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते हे गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी परिचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य तम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्येश्वरं हरि ओम हरि बोल। So very happy Shat Tila Ekadashi to all of you. Again, it's auspicious for all of us that our Harikatha today is coinciding with this auspicious festival. The Acharyas explain Ekadashis as the mother of devotion. Madhava Tithi Bhakati Janani. Bhakati Janani, the mother of devotion. Madhava Tithi, the days of Lord Hari, like Ekadashi, Janmashtami, and others, when they are observed, they lead to great spiritual benefit. They help us to develop our devotional service very rapidly. Of course, when we talk about observance, there are two aspects to observance. One aspect of the observance is the austerities that go with it. For example, on Ekadashi, we avoid eating grains, beans, and so on. But also the opportunity is to connect more deeply to the Lord by increasing both the quality and quantity of our devotional service. That is why many devotees try to increase their hearing, chanting, study of scriptures, and so on and so forth. So at least for us, coincidentally, if not anything else, maybe some of you are increasing your devotional service on Ekadashis, but at least we are getting this wonderful opportunity today to discuss the wonderful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya on this very auspicious day, Shat Tila Ekadashi. The first Ekadashi, not the first, sorry, the second Ekadashi of the year. The first Ekadashi after the sun enters the Uttarayan, after the Makar Sankranti. So it's a very special Ekadashi. I have posted already some Mahatmya of the Ekadashi. Today is one of those, not one of those, the one and only Ekadashi on which sesame seeds teal is recommended to be offered to the Lord and accepted. til, which is a seed which is generally avoided on Ekadashi. Generally, it breaks Ekadashi, but this is a special Ekadashi where it is considered spiritually beneficial to eat til, sesame seeds. So, whether we fully understand or not the technology of how all these things work, it doesn't matter. We accept the intelligence of the Lord and the pure devotees, how they have designed the system for us. So do not worry if some of the rules and regulations do not make rational sense to us in our present condition. It is not that they are irrational, because of our level of ignorance. Some of these principles may not make immediate sense, but that's okay. We accept in good faith the instructions left for us by the Supreme Lord and his representatives. So we want to continue our discussion on the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are on chapter 17, the concluding chapter of the Adi Lila. The chapter is entitled The Youthful Pastimes, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in his youth. As I had mentioned in the last week when we started the chapter, this is part 2, that was the part 1. The chapter itself is over 300 over verses, and not only is it amongst the longest chapters so far, many of the verses which are hinting to certain pastimes of the Lord, those pastimes themselves are practically requiring half an hour, 1 hour to narrate. If we were to narrate them in the detail. And of course, the details are not in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In some places, Prabhupada explains to some extent the details in the purport, but most of the details can be found in Chaitanya Bhagavata and Chaitanya Mangala. And that's precisely the reason, as we have discussed many times, why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami doesn't go into the details, because he says it has already been covered. I don't want to repeat what my predecessor acharyas have already done so wonderfully, so eloquently. That is the humility. Great devotees do not try to supersede the previous acharyas. See, the mentality of materialists is, I want to do better than everybody else. I want to be number one. Recently, there was the FIFA World Cup soccer. Quite interesting. I normally don't follow soccer, but World Cup final was too tempting, so I did watch it with my children. But something interesting, which I noted, because I saw a couple of interviews of some of the players. And the top players in the world, when they are asked, who is the best? They say, I am the best. There was never ever somebody who was better than me, nor will there ever be somebody better than me. I am the best. I am the ultimate. Whether they're actually convinced like that or not, I do not know. But they say. It's quite interesting. Because that's how the material consciousness trains one to think, yes, I will beat everybody. I will be the best. I'll be on the top. And that drives one towards material success. And there is some value to that statement. Whether it's spiritually beneficial or not is a different issue. Don't want to get into that detail. But, and this is not just true in soccer. I'm just mentioning because I came across some of those statements. But actors, I do remember once in one interview, anyway, I don't want to name the actors, but one of the top actors, he said, yeah, humbly said, I am the best. But the consciousness of the spiritualists is actually quite the opposite. The consciousness of the spiritualist is, in fact, the more advanced they are, the more insignificant they think, And they have no qualms in openly saying that actually I'm the most insignificant. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is full of these kind of characters. Because Krishnadas Kaviraj himself, the author here, is so careful. He could have given a more embellished description of the pastimes that Vrindavan Das Thakur has given. Because once you write second, you have a chance to do better than the first, right? Especially in a literary work. But he does not. He says, no, I will not go into the details of those topics where my predecessor has already written, because his is the best. His is so wonderful, his is so perfect that I don't need to revisit that topic. Very interesting. So, in fact, the side point, sorry, I'm diverting, but this is a very important principle for a spiritual advancement. So it's worth spending a few minutes on this. When Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, this is not mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I've heard this from Radhanath Maharaj. I'm not very sure which scripture mentions this, or maybe it is mentioned elsewhere further in the CC. I'm not very sure. But I remember, because I've heard it, that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami approached for blessings to write Chaitanya Charitamrita. And some very great personalities, especially seniors, when he approached them, that I want your blessings to write this book. And they all knew that whatever book would be written would be famous for centuries to come and millions of people would read it. Some very great souls told Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, I will give you blessings to write the book on one condition. Does anybody know what that condition is, or was put by some great souls? The condition was, in the whole book, you will not mention my name at all. Not even mention my name. I don't want to be known. I don't want to be glorified. And it was so difficult. You are such a prominent personality. How can I not mention you and describe about you in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes? But he had no choice but to comply. So he worked around it and indirectly hinted and did some things, but he respected that particular condition. How many of us will do something like this in the material sphere? Huh? We are always looking at promoting our content. How I am found the first on the search results. How my video is the most watched. How I receive the most likes. We are continuously monitoring our Facebook and YouTube to see how many people have, how many likes are there, how many views are there. So I'm mentioning all this just to emphasize the point, and this is so fundamental to the teachings of Bhakti and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The devotees are not trying to find happiness in fame and recognition. They have come to the very strong conclusion and realized conclusion that the real joy and the highest joy of life is in humble, selfless, devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God. And that joy cannot be compared even with the greatest level of material fame. In fact, they see all material fame and success actually as a distraction from real happiness. Prabhupada mentions this in one of the purports, the Bhagavad Gita. I do not remember which one, but that line really, really has stuck with me. It is like a guiding compass, even though I'm personally very far from there, but I try to not lose sight of it. That line is Prabhupada says that those who are trying to become important either in a material or a spiritual sense, those who are trying to be important means great, either from a material or a spiritual sense, cannot taste the really sweet taste of devotional service. Which means that humility is such an essential, necessary ingredient of one's character if one actually wants to come to a higher level of consciousness and taste the joy of pure devotional service. So those who get attracted to the glamour of fame, recognition, glory, they may get that and they may enjoy that. Enjoy, in brackets, suffer. But they are depriving themselves of the real nectar for which we all have come to Krishna consciousness. So this is something that we all should keep in mind, especially serious sadhakas. So that is the character of these great personalities. So we want to move on. We've started the discussion on the 17th chapter. We've completed, I think, close to first 12 verses around. And we want to continue the discussion. There's 300 over verses. We'll see how many we can cover today. Today is part 2 of this chapter. I reckon we may be able to complete another 20, 30 at most. So after this beautiful episode that we last discussed at Srivas Thakur's house, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srivas Thakur gave a very elaborate abhishek where he was sitting in the court and he exhibited his transcendental opulence. And we mentioned this in the last class, how the Lord, even though generally he would always be in the mood of our devotee, there are pastimes from time to time in the Lila of Lord Chaitanya where he would in private, amongst his very close confidential associates, take the liberty of revealing his identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and receive worship. And of course, he did this not to show off. The Lord doesn't need any show off, but to give pleasure to his devotees. Because the devotees get so much pleasure when they see the Lord as in the form of an enjoyer. Devotees never like to see the Lord as a renouncer. Because the Lord is Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvalokam. So to please and bestow blessings on his devotees, the Lord time to time. And that is why in this chapter, immediately after this pastime, it is mentioned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed his divine opulences in various divine forms to Lord Nityananda. And we discussed briefly how Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda met in the house of Nandanacharya, Mayapur. Nityananda Prabhu was traveling all over India with Shankararanya Swami, and he was staying at Mathura when finally he understood that the Lord has begun his Sankirtan movement, because he was just waiting. He was waiting for the launch. Once the movement is launched, then I can join. So once it was launched and the Lord came back from Gaya, he started his Sankirtan movement. He was with Advaita and the others. Nityananda Prabhu made his way to the house of Nandanacharya, and Lord Chaitanya came and he found him, and they had this very beautiful reunion. Why we say? So some of them are mentioned here, which I will mention. One day, Lord Chaitanya displayed to Nityananda Prabhu a very special 6-armed form. It's a very rare form. This form is especially mentioned. This had a few other forms are especially mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You will not find these forms mentioned in the other Vedic scriptures. Shadabhuj. Shadabhuj means 6 arms. Now the 6-armed form There are two kinds of six-armed forms which the Lord displayed at different times to Lord Nityananda. One of the six-armed form is where four arms first had four standard emblems of Lord Narayana. What are they? Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. And then in one hand, he has the bow, and in another hand, the sixth hand, he has a flute. So that form is Narayan, four arms, bow, flute. Bow stands for, represents which form? Whose bow?
Lord Ram.
Lord Ram's bow.
Lord Ram.
Whose flute?
Krishna.
Lord Krishna.
Obviously, yeah. So Shadbhuj, six arms. So that is very, very special darshan. Lord Nityananda was so happy because the Lord Nityananda was very keen to see the Lord's divine opulence. It gives great pleasure to the devotees when they see the Lord's opulence. After displaying this form, the Lord showed him another form, which was actually a four-armed form. But this four-armed form was not like the normal Narayan form. What was it? It was a four-armed form, but the four-armed form was standing in a threefold bending way. Tribhanga, the way Krishna stands. Because Krishna generally is two-armed and he stands in a threefold bending form. This was a four-armed but threefold bending form. Two of the hands, obviously because it is threefold bending form, two of the arms are playing a flute. And in the other two arms, one arm carried a conch shell and the other arm carried a disc. So the conch shell is usually used by the Lord to give blessings. Like he blessed Dhruva, right? In Narayan form, he touched the conch shell to Dhruva's head and Dhruva became illumined with all transcendental wisdom, and beautiful poetry started emanating from his lips. And the disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, is for protecting the devotees. And after showing this very special four-armed form, the Lord transformed into another darshan, which is just the normal two-armed form of Krishna playing flute as the son of Nanda, Shri Nandanandana, bluish complexion, wearing Pita Ambara, yellowish garments. So first six arms, four arms, then two arms. So in this way, the Lord demonstrated that he is both Ram, he is Krishna, he is Narayan, but ultimately he is the source of all forms of the Supreme Personality of God. On one occasion, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes Nityananda Prabhu had arranged for Vyasa Puja or worship of the spiritual master. So the appearance day of Vyasa is celebrated as Vyasa Puja, Vyasa Purnima. This is a yearly festival. It is observed in India, and it is customary on this day to worship the spiritual master. Of course, all spiritual masters are considered as representatives of Vyasa, because Vyasa is considered the original Guru. Original Guru in the sense that because he is the compiler of the Vedas, he is given the position like an Adi Guru. Of course, ultimately, who is the Adi Guru? Ultimately, the Adi Guru, the ultimate Guru is, of course, Krishna himself. But from Krishna, the first Guru who appears is Balram, who is not different from Nityananda. So Nityananda, the Adi Guru, is arranging Vyasa Puja, worship of Vyasa. Obviously, Nityananda's position is so much higher than that of Vyasa. Because Vyasadev is a Amsha incarnation. Nityananda is Balaram, is the first expansion of the Supreme Personality of God. Anyway, so all the devotees had gathered, all the exalted devotees. Lord Chaitanya was also sitting there. And Lord Chaitanya tells Lord Nityananda, as everybody had gathered, Oh Nitai, please take this garland and garland Vyasadeva. So Nityananda Prabhu takes the garland. He looks at Vyasadeva. I think there was a picture or a murti or something that was kept. That he was asked, please go and garland. But then Nityananda Prabhu, he looked at Vyasadeva, then he looked at Lord Chaitanya. Then he was thinking in his own heart how to worship Vyasa in front of Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya is Krishna and Krishna is the origin. He is the Param Guru. Not only is Krishna the Param Guru, but within Krishna he could see him, within Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda could see himself that within Krishna, in the form of Lord Chaitanya, is also Nityananda, because Nityananda Balram is the first expansion. So when he was looking at Lord Chaitanya, he could see within Lord Chaitanya Lord Balram carrying the mushal. So instead of going towards Vyasadeva, he took the garland, he turned towards Lord Chaitanya, went to Lord Chaitanya and garlanded Lord Chaitanya. Of course, Lord Chaitanya protested, but he said, but Nityananda Prabhu and all the other devotees are very happy because they could understand what is the real position of Lord Chaitanya. So there were some sweet pastimes like this. I also mentioned in the last class how Lord Chaitanya introduced Nityananda Prabhu to Mother Sachi. And Mother Sachi was so happy. He told Mother Sachi that please consider Nitai as your another son. And she was so happy because she was so much missing Vishwarup, the elder brother of Lord Chaitanya. And perhaps, even though I do not know exactly, perhaps he was around the same age that what Vishwarup would have been had he been around. What had happened to Vishwarupa, nobody knew. Because the Lord knows, but in public knowledge at that point in time, nobody knew. They knew Vishwarup had left home and taken sannyas, but nobody knew about his whereabouts. So Mother Sachi and everybody were so missing Vishwarup. And in Nitai, she could see Vishwarup. Because actually Vishwarup is actually an expansion of Lord Nityananda. He is an expansion of Balram because he is Sankarshan. Vishwarup is Sankarshan's incarnation. Sankarshan is emanating from Baladev. So it was for Mother Sachi as if Vishwarup was back. So she was so happy to see Nimai and Nitai together. Gaur Nitai. And she would love to feed them. Mother Sachi was a very excellent cook. Her seva, her life's greatest happiness would be to cook very nice feast for Gaura and Nityananda. So this is another thing for us to understand that, to please the Lord, become dear to the Lord, it is not necessary for us to do big things. It is not necessary for us to become a big guru, a big sannyasi, have thousands of disciples, travel all over the world. If we can do that, it's wonderful. If Krishna empowers us in that way and wants us to do that, that is wonderful. But that is not necessary condition to please the Supreme Lord. You can please the Supreme Lord simply by cooking wonderful offerings as a simple housewife. At an external level, what was Mother Sachi? A widow who had one son who was at home. And all she was doing from an external perspective, by external considerations, was taking care of that very simple small home, not even very opulent, cooking, cleaning, and just taking care of the household. But she was so dear to the Lord because whatever she was doing, she would do with such love, such affection that the Lord would be sold. And all the devotees would consider her as the topmost devotee. So what happened was, in her dream once, now some of these details are not mentioned here, so if you read, you may not find some of these details in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm just sharing a little more than what is mentioned here. She would worship a Krishna Balaram deities at home. Probably they had many sets of deities, but one of them were Krishna Balaram. Once in a dream, she saw Krishna and Balaram fighting over the bhoga that was offered. I want this, I want this. They were fighting over the food. And she was like bewildered. Then once when Gaur and Nitai were sitting in front of her, Gaur and Nitai would, play and joke and make fun. She got the darshan that actually Gaur and Nitai are none other than Krishna and Balaram. She was struck with wonder. So she would be extraordinarily happy to cook and serve. If you remember, I had also mentioned earlier that when Ishwarapuri met Lord Chaitanya in Gaya, he remembered how he was hosted at the house of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata many years ago. And he also remembered the vegetable that Sachi Mata had cooked. So that was her favorite seva. So in this way, Sachi Mata would have many beautiful confidential pastimes and revelations. And sometimes she would be bewildered because she was not able to understand. Of course, just like Krishna would cover over Mother Yashoda, so that Mother Yashoda would not think of Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Sometimes he would reveal, sometimes he would hide. Reveal, then bewilder her. So Lord Chaitanya would also play such kind of divine games. Those who are having such ragatmika devotion for the Supreme Lord, they have such attachment to the Lord at a very personal level that for them their love doesn't become diminished, even with the recognition that the object of their love is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because their bhav of pure affection, that particular relationship of their own sthayi bhav, is so intense that the thought that this personality is God goes into the background. These things are not to be imitated. These things are natural consequences of very intense pure love. If we imitate, we will become offensive. Then one very beautiful pastime is mentioned by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in half a verse, but that pastime itself requires 1.5 to 2 hours to describe. And that is the pastime where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, then, after this episode of Mother Sachi seeing Krishna and Balaram, Lord Chaitanya delivered the two brothers Jagai and Madhai. I am thinking whether I should go into the detail of. So I thought about it and I came to the conclusion that I cannot not speak about Jagai and Madhai because such an important pastime. And I was thinking how sensitive and respectful Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was, that such a very important pastime, he has just referred to it in half a verse, just because it is covered in great detail by his predecessor acharyas. So this is a very important pastime. It's a very, very famous pastime. So I'm going to go into some detail. I'm not going to take an hour. I'm going to take I think 5 minutes. Let's see what it comes to. Because what happens when I start speaking, then I remember this. Then I think this is also important. Then I think this is also important. So you have to excuse me if goes on a little longer. But I think best is to not rush too much. If you rush too much, we will not be able to taste the sweetness. So, when Nityananda Prabhu joined the gang of devotees, Lord Chaitanya was in a mood to spread the chanting of the holy name. Now, amongst all the preachers, Advaitacharya wasn't really, he is a great devotee, but he's quite an old person from an external perspective, very elderly person. He wasn't the person who would go out and preach. Who are the main preachers of Lord Chaitanya? There were many preachers, but the main two preachers, anybody knows? The two main.
Nityananda
And second, the second was Haridas Thakur. This is quite interesting. Now, I'm not going to go into the background of Haridas Thakur. Many of you are aware. His pastimes will come in great detail in the Madhya Lila, so we will cover them there. So you have to be patient. He's a very great personality. He's an incarnation of Brahma, Lord Brahma. So Nityananda and Haridas Thakur would go around and preach. They were the master strategists of Lord Chaitanya. How to preach, where to go, which areas to go, how to spread the message, how to convince them. So they would do like that. So they would come up with novel ideas. But the bottom line of their preaching technique was very, very humbly they would approach the individuals and humbly beg them. Please chant the name of Krishna. Chant the name of Krishna, worship Krishna. Chant the name of Gauranga and worship Gauranga. Then you will achieve Krishna very easily, and then you will achieve the perfection of your life. There's this beautiful song. Bhaj Gaurango, Kaho Gaurango, Joho Gaurangir Naam Re, Jo Jana Gaurango Bhaje, Se Amar Pran Re. Whoever chants the name of Gauranga becomes my heart and soul. So they would preach chanting of Krishna's name. They would spread the message of Lord Chaitanya. So as they were doing this, of course, the results were not as per their KPIs. Whatever KPIs, who would set the KPIs? Lord Chaitanya would set the KPIs. KPI means key performance indicator. Today you have to preach to so many people. Every evening, Lord Nityananda, Haridas Thakur, they would come in front of Lord Chaitanya and give a report. Correct? Just like, salesmen go on the field for field sales. At the end of the day, they produce a sales report. Today, so many leads we spoke to, so many converted into sales, so many have progressed, so many are said bye-bye, not interested. So they would come and present a report, and I'm not making this up. Actually come. I don't know what exactly they would say in their report, but they would explain, this is what we did, this is where we went, this is what the response we got. And Lord Chaitanya would, with great eagerness, would hear and discuss. So as they were making various strategies, And of course, they were never happy that, they were always feeling that they're not getting as good a response. Because sometimes they would go to some homes and people were just not interested. Just not interested. As people would be on the streets, Nityananda Prabhu would go and beg them, please chant the name of Krishna. And they would say, oh, we are busy going to work, please don't disturb us. You want some money, go, don't disturb. Can you imagine Lord Balram, Lord Brahma are coming and asking you? And you are saying, I am too busy going to my job. So they would try, but they were not getting success to the extent. They would even go to people's homes. Initially, they were trying to catch people on the streets, but people would run away from them. So they would start going to their homes. They would knock on their doors and they would beg them to chant the names of Krishna. Some would do, and then they would be very happy and they would receive all blessings. And some would refuse. Some would give excuses. So Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur had a brainstorming session. What to do? How to improve sales? Devotional sales. What is their product that they are selling? What is the product that they were selling? Anybody?
Harinam.
Harinam.
Yes, thank you. Perfect. They were selling the holy name. Nama Hatta, the marketplace of the holy name. They're trying to sell everybody. Chant the name of Krishna, worship Krishna. Krishna is your father, Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your life and soul. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dhana Pran. Please chant the name of Krishna. So that was the product. So their success parameter was if somebody would accept the holy name with faith, then they are successful. Product has been delivered. Subscription has been enabled. Somebody has subscribed to the holy name. So all of you are also subscribers to the holy name because we are regularly. Subscription means we are regularly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So they would go and preach the holy names like that. Distribute the holy names like that. But many were very unwilling. So they were strategizing, how can we change our marketing strategy so that the receptivity to our product in the market is better. So one day, as they were going around the streets, Nityananda and Haridas Thakur on the streets of Navadvip, they saw two brothers, Jagai and Madhai, who were from a Brahman family, from a Brahman background, but they were extremely intoxicated. And they were uttering abusive language, beating people, quarreling. They saw, they were very surprised. What kind of individuals are these? And to cut a long story short, eventually they found out that these two are the most notorious gangsters of the area. You can call them like the Don. They are always intoxicated. They are from powerful, wealthy Brahman background, but they are the most degraded, lower than the lowest in their activities and qualities. There is no sin that they have not committed. No sin. Now, about their sins, I can speak for 20 minutes, but I will not go in that direction. But they are extremely, extremely sinful. So, to cut a long story short, after understanding and assessing the situation, both of them were thinking, see, we are going and trying to sell the holy name to so many people, but it's so difficult. But imagine if we can sell the holy name, these two, Gunda number one, then they can be our poster boys for the product. Because the most notorious person, if they have accepted the holy name, then everybody else will, our sales will become so much easier. Correct? This is the psychology of endorsement, right? Yeah. Advertisement. You see Virat Kohli or Shah Rukh Khan saying, oh, I use this shampoo, I use this brand of shirt, or this, I eat this brand of cereals, whatever it may be. And then everybody gets excited. So you just have to tell everybody that this person is taking this product. And if he is a very well-known personality, or if that personality who's well-known is shown a great transformation, then that itself is such a big advertisement, you don't have to do anything else. So that was the strategy that they came up with. Both said, this is a brilliant idea. So the project is, new sales project is, we want these two to become our customers. So let's focus. So I want to cut a long story short because there's so many details here. And I've already clearly gone to 10 minutes plus, or maybe even 15 already. And I haven't even started the story. So this is what happens. That's why I say, we can go on unlimitedly discussing the Lord's pastimes, but can never exhaust it. So I want to at least complete this pastime today, and we have only 10 minutes left. So I'm going to press the pedal. So they both agree that the idea is good. But the question is, who's going to bell the cat? Correct? You understand the phrase bell the cat? Who's going to approach them and try to sell? Who's going to make the sales pitch? Because they are such dangerous criminals and they are drunk. What can they understand? And their response can be so unpredictable. So attempts were made, but of course the two brothers shooed away and chased both of them. And both of them ran away, so to say, in Lila, saving their life. And both of them were running, and Haridas Thakur was, as he was running, he was complaining to Lord Nityananda, see, because of your idea, I have got into trouble. Now my life is in danger. I am being chased by gundas. And they are having this conversation as they are running away with Jagai and Madha in hot pursuit. And they say, you are a madman. More than them, you are a madman, that you want to sell the holy name to such mad people. So they were having fun and they were chatting like this. So first couple of attempts were actually unsuccessful. And reports went to Lord Chaitanya that this project is in progress. And Lord Chaitanya found it very interesting that such an ambitious project has been undertaken. Nonetheless, what eventually happened is Nityananda Prabhu was very persistent because he was very keen. He saw this as a very, very powerful way to awaken the masses. So he approached the brothers again, and they were so upset that I think Jagai, if I'm not wrong, please correct me. he took a piece of a broken earthen pot, and he hit Lord Nityananda on his head. Because Lord Nityananda was asking him to chant Krishna's name and become a devotee. Very humbly, Lord Nityananda was begging him, like he always did. But in their rage, they hit Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda started bleeding in Lila. Because the Lord's transcendental body is never affected, but in his manifest pastimes, he enacted it like that. But even then, he was not angry. Nityananda Prabhu, even though he was hit. The news reached Lord Chaitanya that this is what has happened. And Lord Chaitanya was so furious when he heard that Nityananda Prabhu was attacked, that Lord Chaitanya immediately ran to the place. And meanwhile, what had happened was, Jagai had hit Lord Nityananda once, and he was about to hit a second time. But his brother and accomplice stopped him. Somehow he just felt that, oh, this person looks like a saintly person, why to kill him? So he somehow stopped Jagai from the second assault. So Lord Chaitanya reached there on the spot. And when he saw Nityananda Prabhu bleeding, he was so angry. That Lord who was so extremely humble. Humble for himself, but intolerant towards offenses to his devotees. The Lord was so angry that instantly the Lord summoned his Sudarshan Chakra. This is one of those times where the Lord suddenly transformed into the mood of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He invoked his chakra. Chakra. The Sudarshan Chakra appeared on his finger. And he was about to slay. So Lord Nityananda forbade Lord Chaitanya from doing so. He told him that, oh Lord, your incarnation as Lord Gauranga, Lord Gaurasundar, is not for killing demons. It is for transforming their heart. So please do not do like that. So it's a very long conversation. There are a lot of very beautiful exchanges in this. Please read. Or if you don't have the patience to read, go to YouTube, look for a class. Many great devotees have given beautiful detailed lectures on this pastime. Radhanath Maharaj, Jayapataka Maharaj, so many others. They've spoken at great length. Very, very beautiful interaction and beautiful details. But net, what happened is Lord Nityananda stopped Lord Chaitanya from killing them. And he said that, no, our incarnation this time as Gaur Nitai is not for killing. Previous ages as Ram Lakshman, as Krishna Balram, we would destroy demons by killing them. But in this incarnation, we destroyed the demoniac tendencies inside by giving the holy name to the demons. So my request is to give them love. So Chaitanya was taken aback. Then it came to Lord Chaitanya's notice, it was brought to Lord Chaitanya's notice that one of the brothers had stopped the other brother from hitting Nitai for the second time. So Lord Chaitanya was so pleased that one of them had accidentally performed that service that he decided to forgive him. And he bestowed Krishna Prema on him. Because that person actually fell at the feet of Lord Chaitanya. They understood their mistake and they fell at the feet and they said, please deliver us. So one of them was delivered. The other one was left He said, oh, you delivered him, but you didn't deliver me. You should give me also. We both have been equal partners in all crimes. So initially the Lord was hesitant, but after Lord Nityananda's request and by their earnest appeals, the Lord finally bestows forgiveness and blessings to both Jagai and Madhai. And both of them transform themselves into great devotees. They become very humble. They give away all the wealth that they had sinfully acquired. They become very humble. They go to each and every person they have offended and hurt and beg forgiveness and serve them, try to repent and redress their grievances in whatever way is practically possible. So they transformed into great devotees. And in that way, actually, Lord Nityananda Prabhu's project was actually finally successful. So this pastime of Jagai and Madhai's deliverance is very extraordinary. And it is extraordinary not just because of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, but more so because of Lord Nityananda's mercy. Why? Because of course Lord Chaitanya bestowed mercy because Nityananda Prabhu intervened and insisted that Jagai and Madhai be delivered. Even though Jagai and Madhai had tried to kill Lord Nityananda. So the key learning point in this whole pastime is how self-sacrificing the great devotees of the Lord are. That to give Krishna to others, how much they are willing to endure suffering, and how much they overlook all personal tribulations. Even those who offend them, they are willing to give them Krishna. So that is the great mercy of Lord Nitai. That's why we say we have so much hope. The point is, if Jagai and Madhai can be delivered, then anybody can be delivered. Because we cannot be worse than Jagai and Madhai. So even if we try to compete in sinful activities, we will not match Jagai and Madhai. So that topic has also been analyzed in great detail in Chaitanya Bhagavat. I don't have time to go through it. But the key thing is they received the favor of a devotee and they became humble, and with great sincerity and humility they fell at the feet of the Lord and his devotees, and that led to their deliverance. So there is great hope for all of us. If Jagai and Madhai can be delivered, so can we. So this is a very beautiful pastime. I will strongly encourage you, as I just mentioned, please read the details or hear the details. So it's already 10 p.m. and I have completed 5 verses today. So I'm wondering how long it is going to take to complete this chapter, but it's okay. I hope you enjoyed. At the end of the day, we are purified. That is what matters. So we'll continue our discussion. There are many more very beautiful pastimes which come in the next 10-15 verses as well. Actually, the next immediate pastime is also actually a very elaborate one, but we'll not go into that much details, which is the Mahaprakash Lila, the next few verses. And then there's a discussion of the glories of the Holy Name and Mahaprabhu's instruction on the Holy Name. Then the Gopal Chapala's episode is there. Yeah. So I think we can go a little bit more faster the next time. So I'm going to stop here and open the floor. If there are any questions or comments, please let me know if you think I'm going into too much detail or going too slow. Or if you are happy to get into the details also, I am happy to hear that I can serve you in the best way. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki Jai. Mahaprabhu. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Suyash.
Just one clarification.
Yeah.
So initially you mentioned that during the Vyas Puja, Nityanand Prabhu, he actually was, he went and offered the garland to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I just wanted to understand that I have heard somewhere that in the context of Guru and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when the Guru is honored, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased. So in this case, I mean, I might be not understanding the question properly, or maybe I'm not framing it properly, but I just wanted to understand that in this case, shouldn't Nityanand Prabhu have, garlanded the Guru who was at the Vyaspit instead of directly offering the garland to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? I just wanted to understand the context. It's a little.
Yeah. So Chaitanya Charitamrita says that within Lord Chaitanya, he saw Lord Balram. So he saw the Adi Guru Balram within Lord Chaitanya. So Balram is, from a Guru Tattva perspective, he is the original Guru Tattva. And Vyasa is only a small speck of Lord Balram. So in that sense, Nityananda Prabhu saw it more appropriate. So he wasn't worshipping Krishna when he was garlanding Lord Chaitanya. The Chaitanya Charitamrita says he saw Balram. He actually saw himself there because he himself is Balram. So in that mood, he did it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was just a little confused, so I thought I'll just clarify.
Yeah. So our philosophy is that the disciple always understands that he achieves Krishna by Guru's mercy. Of course, Krishna is always most important. At the same time, the disciple is always cognizant that when Guru and Krishna both are in front of us, we first offer obeisances to Guru. Right? I mean, that is the principle, because only through Guru we get Krishna. So we recognize that principle. It's not that we consider Guru more important than Krishna, but we consider we are grateful to Guru to have given Krishna to us. So in that spirit, that is how, what is the proper way to do. That's why even when we enter the temple, first we offer obeisances to the spiritual master of Prabhupada's Murti, and then we go and take darshan. Of course, we express our gratitude. We also seek their blessing so that we can worship the Lord properly. And the Lord is pleased to see that attitude. The Lord doesn't like to see the attitude of jumping over the Guru and coming. So there are many subtle points there to learn. But here the point of this particular pastime was that within Lord Chaitanya, all the other incarnations and personalities are present. This point will also become more clear when we discuss in the next class the Mahaprakash Lila and the Shataprahariya Lila, Sat Prahar, 7 Prahars, where Lord Chaitanya displayed many forms of the personality of God, many incarnations to many devotees from himself. At times across the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Lord has taken the form of Varaha, at times he has taken the form of Ramachandra, at times He has taken the form of Narsinga at times to please certain devotees. At one time, he took the form of Lord Shiva. So how is that possible? Because within Krishna, all forms are there. So the Adi Guru Balram is also within Krishna in that sense. So just so that we understand from that perspective as well. Not that Guru is greater than Krishna, but Guru is to be offered respect first.
Okay, Lord. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other question or comment? Okay, so thank you all very much. So have a wonderful Ekadashi or whatever is left of it. Please check the breakfast time in your locality. I think for KL it is 7:20 something. Let me just check. I didn't post it here. Is it? I thought I had posted it. Okay. It's in this message. 7:14. Oh, that's for Mumbai. Mumbai 7:14 to 10:57.
7:24 in KL.
7:24. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I thought. So around 7:20 something. Around 7:24. Okay, so I will see you all on Saturday, where we'll continue our discussion on the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai,
Jai.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhu, thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hari Bol, Sridharji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Ritaji,
Prabhuji.
thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice class.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Indulekha Mataji.
Thank
Charan
you,
Lakshmi
Prabhu.
Mataji. Ritaji, thank you.
I'm sorry for attending after a very long time.
No. I'm so happy you are back connected again. And I was so happy to see you in Nashik as well.
Yeah, same here, same here.
Jai, very nice. Okay.